So what I do is I come out here and I like to talk about God. It's kind of cool to talk about God. If you guys want to engage me individually, I shut this off and we have a little conversation. I love doing that because knowing about God is a very important subject because, well, of course, first of all, God made us, right? God made the world we live in too. I mean, it didn't come into being by itself, did it? Now, we have these guys called infidels. They're basically, the word infidel means an atheist. People who are non-believers, and they don't believe in God. But you know, in spite of all their efforts to make people not believe in God, and they think people are gullible, actually people are extremely skeptical, but people use the scientific method. Trial and error, right? They kind of they know that there had to be a creator. They don't know exactly who he is necessarily, unless they're disciples of Jesus, then they know he's the God of the Bible. Yehovah is the name. That's how you pronounce it. Pretty interesting. I got that from a Jewish guy. The Jews stopped using the name of the Lord because they thought it was too holy to speak his name, but actually the Bible commands us to speak his name. Yehovah, the Heavenly Father, and then his Son, Jesus Christ. So, and then the Holy Spirit. So it's called the Holy Trinity, the three persons of the Godhead who are one. Good to see you, bro. God bless you. Have a prosperous day today. Yeah, so the Father and Son and Holy Spirit are God. Three persons of the Godhead. And see, the way that they're one person is because they're infinite. So you can't have three separate infinite beings. They have to be all one because there's no borders between them. Like us, there's borders and boundaries that we're separated by time and space. And, but with God, see, Jesus said, he that has seen the Father has seen me. So, do you know what God is like? Just read the New Testament and then listen to what Jesus is saying and look at what he is doing, and you will find out what God is like. It's pretty cool. So you don't have to be in ignorance and not knowing what God is like. And let me warn you, there's a lot of false gods out here in this world. Mankind has created a lot of false deities. And it's a way to divert people from the true, living, infinitely good, infinitely compassionate, infinitely patient God. And he really is infinitely patient with this world because he sees everything that's done that's evil. And if I was him, I probably would put an end to it if I saw all the children being molested, raped by these pedophiles, and all the other things that happen, but especially the children, with the violence against children that's really being done now, which is a result of the proliferation of pornography. See, when I was young, it wasn't so bad. You could get pornography by going to a store and buying a Playboy magazine. Now you can get it on your phone. Everyone gets it. Even the young people are getting this stuff, and they're seeing all these obscene images, and it's just perverting your sexual nature. I mean, your sexual nature is more than just wanting to, connect. There's your emotional realm. You need to really feel loved, right? And then it really hurts when someone rejects you. You see, that's why God commands, you shall not commit adultery. He's saying, don't hurt the person you love. That's basically what he's saying. Don't hurt the person you love. Don't dishonor God, because all sin is dishonoring God. Don't cause chaos and disorder in the universe that I have created, God says. I want there to be peace and harmony. And the way there's peace and harmony is we learn to follow the rules. It's just like driving. You learn to follow the rules. If you're driving around and not ignoring all the stoplights and ignoring all the little lines, not staying in your lane, basically. I mean, look at that. We can stay in our lane when we're driving, but when we conduct our sexual lives, we don't know how to stay in the lane. Yeah. So staying in your lane means finding a mate, man and a woman, one man, and every man have his own wife, and every woman have her own husband. And then you have peace and harmony. When I was young, as part of the hippie movement, we said, make love, not war, because the Vietnam War was going on at the time, and And that was a very common slogan. And hi.
Hi.
You can have any of these you want.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And
There's
this
so
one's,
much.
yeah, this one is, I wrote these, but actually that one I got out of a book, Eric McTaxis's book.
Oh.
He is Atheism Dad, so I just... Nellis, and I'm your outdoor religion class teacher. And I just love being out here and talking to young people. Makes me feel young again. And, this is an institution of learning. But you don't learn about God, do you? That's really the most important thing in your life, is to learn who God is and his purpose for your life. So, let me ask you a question. Do you ever wonder why you are? How you came to be? What the purpose behind your creation was? Was it just the idea your parents had, like I wanted this child? They didn't even know what you're going to look like when they when they came together and produced you. But it's really joyful having a child. I recommend this to you young people. The atheistic world says the world's being overpopulated. 8 billion people is just a small number. It's not hardly any. There's like 60 trillion people who are called angels who live in another dimension that's a parallel dimension to this world. And there's going to be trillions of people in the future because God is going to allow the human race to populate the planets of the universe. So we are going through an experiment here on just one planet to find out if man can live without God and what he will do. If mankind, or humankind, can live a good life without God's influences. And really the experiment shows us that we need God's influences. We need God. We need his government, which his instructions on living and how to live and how to relate to each other. You see, all of God's laws are actually in perfect harmony with our nature. When you break God's laws, like you steal, you're actually hurting yourself. When you kill, you're hurting yourself. When you commit sexual immorality, you're hurting yourself. And you're dishonoring God, and you're hurting the whole order of the universe. The order of society. That word society pops around all over the place. It doesn't appear in the Bible, but actually the same concept appears. Antisocial behavior. When you sin, that's antisocial behavior. And socialism is anti-socialism. It is antisocial. So a lot of you guys are brainwashed with socialism. Socialism is antisocial. It's an economic system. It's not but actually it is kind of a religious system too, because Marxism really is a demonic religious system. You see what Marxism did. I get these atheist guys. I had one yesterday that said, religion causes wars. You know what causes wars more than anything else? In the last century, we had the Soviet Union, which killed 20 million people. We had Mao Zedong, who was a communist over there in China. He killed 70 million people. And then we had Pol Pot in Cambodia. He killed 6 million people. And then we had Adolf Hitler, who was a socialist. You know what Nazi means? It means National Socialism. So Hitler he killed at least 12 million people. Then there's Joseph Stalin of Russia. He starved out the Ukrainians. I think he killed something like 10 million of them. And actually, some numbers around 30 million. So we got somewhere from 100 to 150 million people were murdered by socialists, atheistic utopian socialists. That's really what they are. If you want the definition, it's not Democrat, it's not Republican. It's those who believe and love in Jehovah and his son Jesus Christ. And then there's the infidels, the atheists, who reject God. And then there's the pagans who make up their own gods and worship them instead of the true God. So that's the three basic religions. So you're going to live your life by one of those three. And I really advise people to find the true God. I mean, each of us is on a quest for truth. not trying to impose anything on anybody. I refuse to impose anything on anybody. But I like to use reason. And I like to, and reason is our capacity to understand and perceive truth. Isn't that true? Yeah. So, actually, the word science means knowledge. You know, the quest for knowledge. Each one of us should be on a quest for knowledge. So you're born into this world, and this world is the social, economic, political, and religious system of this world is in rebellion against the Creator God. And so it's a rebellious world, but doesn't mean everyone in it is in rebellion. And see, that's the thing. The world is going this direction towards destruction. And God is trying to say, hey, no, that's the wrong way to go. You need to go this way, because that will produce life. And what life is, it's the opposite of destruction. And you want to live, right? Do you guys like living? Isn't it nice living? You get to see the sun, breathe that fresh air, drink water. I love drinking water. I just drank some water there. All the different kinds of food. We got Mexican food, Chinese food, American food, hamburgers. I saw that Panther movie. What's it called? Pink Panther. Yeah. And I forgot the name of the actor. And the guy, he's a French guy, and he thinks hamburgers are lousy because he's used to eating escargot, right? So, but then he realizes after he eats one, wow, these are delicious. I love hamburgers. And he can't say the word hamburger right. He goes, hamburger, like the French accent, and then all these different variations of that. But it's really funny. But the point of this is we have these sensory organs in our mouth and smell that really gives you pleasure when you eat food, right? And then God has created all these different types of food for you to enjoy. Isn't that a wonderful creator who has made life where we can experience pleasure? These pagan religions, they say that pleasure is evil. Because the basic philosophy is this. Anything in the spirit realm is good. Anything in the physical realm is evil. And they're wrong about that. They're wrong about that. God created the physical realm and the spiritual realm to be joined together. And that's what you are. You are a spirit living in a body. And death is not the cessation of existence. Death is merely your spirit leaving your body. And a lot of people have death experiences and are brought back to life again with a defibrillator or something like that. And they come back and they say, I was fully conscious. I was floating around on the ceiling and looking down at my body and thought, hey, that guy looks like me. And then I went down and sat by my wife, and I tried to talk to her, and for some reason, she couldn't hear me. and then I had these people come and start yanking me down into hell. Sometimes it's angels taking them to heaven, but yeah, they go, woo, it's real. There is life after death, but it's the separation of the spirit from the body is not life, it's existence. And you're fully conscious, and you have pain and everything else that you have in your physical body. But life is the joining of the spirit and the body, and then the soul is that what's produced by that junction, and so that's what God gives us. God created Adam, so God, and then He breathed into him. The ruach is the Hebrew word which means spirit. He breathed into him the breath of life, and then his lungs start pumping. How would you like it if, like this guy? I'm sure his lungs are pumping because he's riding hard, So, but if your lungs stop pumping, what happens to you, right? What do you think? Do you guys know what happens when your lungs stop breathing? You die. You die. And so, what a blessing it is to be able to breathe. But there is a day coming where your lungs will stop pumping. What will you do then? Now is the time to get ready. And your life, your life, every day you're making choices. Every day you wake up, you choose whether or not you will respond to God's call on your life. See, God is calling you. God calls every one of us. God knows you intimately. See, I don't know you very well because I'm a finite being. But God has an infinite mind, and He can look at every single person in this world, all 8 billion of us, and know every little detail about our lives. And the incredible thing about God is that even when He sees the evil that's in us, that repels Him, He still loves us anyway. Because He understands that we do evil because we're ignorant. Because the people follow, they go partying and reveling and taking drugs and having sex and free sex and all this other stuff. They're ignorant of what they're doing to themselves. They're on a path of self-destruction. They're hurting themselves. And that grieves God because, he views each one of us as one of his children. Just like if you had a child, you would want the best for your child, right? And you probably have parents, you young people have parents that want the best for you. So they want you to graduate, and get a degree and make tons of money, right? Well, I got bad news for you. You are a slave on a tax farm. But that's a whole other subject. You're like one of the serfs in feudal Europe, where the nobility, they own everything, and you're just a slave, slaving along. But, Jesus Christ said this. He said, if you become my disciple, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Because really, you don't need money to live. People live in the hills of Appalachia with hardly any money, and other places around the world, and they're very happy people. You don't need money. You need food, of course. You need shelter. You need people in your life you can talk to, so you're not lonely, right? And that's what family is. You get married, you have children, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of people there that are your hero, that think you're the hero. Right? So the more you have, the better, young people. I advise you have at least 4 kids, and better 6. Age is kind of pushing it economically. But the people who built America, they had 10, 12, 16 kids. Yeah. And your body can handle it. You just got to eat healthy. You got to find out what kind of foods will regenerate your body. If you're not eating the right foods, then your body's not going to regenerate, right? So there's women like in some of these other countries that, they're pregnant and they're out in the rice fields, and then comes time to have the baby, and they just squat down, pop the baby out, and then back to, harvesting rice. We Americans, we're just spoiled. Got to have a hospital. What do you need a hospital for? You just need a few good midwives. Actually, hospitals are good. I'm not saying don't go to the hospital because we're also unhealthy. You might die in childbirth if you aren't in the hospital. But just getting back to the basics and reality. See, so there's physical laws, and there's also spiritual laws, and there's also moral laws. And what I'm trying to show you guys is that when you bring your life into submission to the moral law of God, then it will cause you to prosper in incredible ways. First of all, you'll prosper spiritually because you'll be in harmony with God and nature. See, God created nature, so when you're out of harmony with God, you're not in harmony with nature. See, the pagans and those who are in witchcraft, they worship nature, but you know what nature's telling them? What are you doing, dummy? Don't worship me like the birds. Why are you a rebel against God? The butterflies, the monarch butterflies. How do they know? Because it takes them like 5 generations to migrate from the south to the north and then back. How do these butterflies, the 5 generations know where to go? Over there by north of San Francisco, there's this park there where all these monarch butterflies, during the migration time, they just kind of hang out in the trees and leaves. But it's an incredible miracle. So you see, God not only created the world, this is the interesting thing, is that he maintains the world. See, by Jesus Christ, it says in the book of Colossians, by him all things consist. He made all things. Did you know Jesus Christ made all things? Yeah, the guy that's walking around in the land of Judah in Israel. Yeah, because he's God and he took on human nature. He humbled himself to becoming one of us. Just like you becoming an ant. Like looking down at an anthill and saying, well, okay, I'm going to humble myself and become an ant. And I'm going to try to talk to these ants about how to live. Actually, the ants know how to live. As a matter of fact, it says in the book of Proverbs in the Bible. So that's why the Bible is a book of wisdom. To give you wisdom. So in the book of Proverbs it says, go to the ant, thou sluggard. You know what a sluggard is? God, we don't have any language anymore. The leftists have stolen our language from us. We only have a few words. You know what a sluggard is? Do you know what a vagrant is? Do you know what a hobo is? A bum? Oh, that's a homeless person, right? So we can only use the word homeless, but there's a whole bunch of words that describe a person that just decides to live on the street. So, the same thing Let's see, where was I at? I was talking about the. Hello, young man. How you doing today? Yeah, I'm Professor Cliff. Good to meet you. Yeah. Would you like one of these articles here? Yeah. This is a really cool one here. Where did you come from, and what is your purpose? And then this one kind of is a summary of what the Bible teaches. And so that's a cool one. So here's one: atheism is dead. About your sexuality, the cult that runs this university. This one is, where do they come from? What's my purpose? Where am I going? This is, what does the Bible say about that? And then I have some other ones. I wrote most of these, and some of them I didn't. This one's on the young earth. The earth is from 6,000 years old. Do you believe that? Are you a Christian or not? You just kind of, you're a secret. Or you're culture. Yeah, so that's not interesting. This is on chastity. This is we want world peace. There's a way to create world peace. You know how to do that? How are you doing today? My name is Cliff, and I'm your outdoor religion class professor. And I just want to talk to you about God a little bit. It can't hurt to raise your God consciousness, can it? Because most people are totally unconscious of God. They're living in a material world, and they're not even aware that there is a God that is very real. Did you know that God has emotions? Yes, he has emotions. God has emotions. God feels. As a matter of fact, his emotions, see, if you have the emotions of love, hate, sorrow, pity, there's all kinds of emotions. God has all those to an infinite degree. And the Bible talks about how God is grieved by people that choose the path of evil. They choose to worship false gods and practice immorality of all kinds. They oppress people. That's one of the things that God was very grieved by the nation of Israel. Because he had chosen these people, and he was very grieved, and he realized, I'm going to have to punish them. It's around 600 BC, and they had been a nation for around 800 years. Yeah, 800 years. And they kept worshiping Bel. Bel was a false god that was Bel and Ashtoreth were the inventions of some evil people who hated God. They were theopaths, and they didn't want people to worship the true God and love God. It's not just God. God doesn't need worship. He wants love. That's what he wants, and he wants a relationship with you. Did you know that? It's incredible. I thought God was way out there in outer space and didn't really care about us that much. No, God views you as one of his children, and he longs for a relationship with you, but there's something that causes a breach in that relationship. It's just like any human relationship you have. If you have somebody that slaps you in the face, steals your stuff, burns your house down, are you going to be able to have a relationship with that person? No, you're not, right? Until they change their ways. Until they change their ways and change their attitude. And that's how we are. We're rebellious. We're burning God's house down. We're burning the earth down. You know, we're dropping aluminum in the skies. Can you believe that? These globalist guys? We're sequestering carbon down under the earth. Doing all kinds of things to destroy the earth, but each one of us does little things to destroy the earth in our own way, too, like in our own relationships. We take drugs. Taking drugs is destroying your body. How many of you young people have taken drugs? Good. You're good thinking there, young lady. You stay away from that stuff. I have an article down here on how to succeed in life. And one of the secrets is don't get drunk and don't take drugs, because it destroys your mental abilities, and then you become in bondage. You become a slave to it. It's like, it's like going fishing. How do you catch a fish, right? You put a worm on the hook, but the fish doesn't know that there's a hook and a line. So it looks at that worm and it says, "Oh, that looks delicious. I'm going to eat that," and then they get hooked. That's what drugs are like. And free sex and perverted sex, all of that stuff hooks you in, and then it takes you down to the bottom of the sea where you just suffocate. Who wants to be down there? I want to be where I can breathe, live, right? The breath of life. God is the breath of life. God gives you spiritual breathing. God is the water of life. He gives you the refreshment of water. I'm going to drink some water here. So you guys are influenced by a lot of things. You got your little cell phones there, and you're on TikTok or whatever, and you're absorbing all this stuff. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that stuff that you're absorbing that's molding you, molding your thinking, do you think that's good, or some of that? Is it possible for you to be brainwashed? Like Charlie Kirk says, he says, have you been brainwashed? And what brainwashing is, where something is repeated over and over and over again to you, and then pretty soon you believe it, even though it's not true. See, and that's called propaganda. Hitler and his SS guys, they had a propaganda thing going where they found out if they repeat a lie often enough, people will actually believe it because they keep hearing it over and over again. Hey, man. Oh, good to see you again, man. Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, just talking to people about Jesus today. Yeah. So what's your name again? Oh, grave now. Hold my body down. I'm with the resurrection of the body. It's an Appalachian song, you guys. I recommend bluegrass. I love bluegrass. In country music, there's a lot of trumpet. That's a trumpet when Jesus comes back. Hallelujah. Gotta hold my body down.
Well, look down the river. What do you think you see? I see a band of angels, and they're coming after me.
Yeah, when I die, I'll see a band of angels.
Down yonder, Gabriel.
Oh, Gabriel will come down. Yes.
Gabriel, don't you blow your trumpet until you hear from me. No way. Gonna hold my body down.
Ain't no grave. Gonna hold my body down. That trumpet sound. Gonna rise up out of the ground. That's the resurrection of the body. Jesus will call forth the dead. Gonna hold my body down. It's fun being a Christian. Knowing God and knowing the truth and knowing that death is not going to hold us down. Nope. Death can't hold you down. Jesus Christ. If you follow Jesus, you'll live forever. The body will come out of that grave. That's right. The resurrection of the body. And even if you were cremated, you get a new body. Never die, never age. Eternal youth. Me in the air.
And if my wings don't fail me, I can meet you anywhere. Yeah, meet me, Mama and Papa.
Yes, you see your mom and dad. Maybe.
And you know I'll be there when I'm checking in my road, 'cause there ain't no
rain. Gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave. Gonna hold my body down. Hear that trumpet sound. Jesus coming back. Gonna rise up out of the ground. no grave gonna hold my body down. See, I love bluegrass. Hey, you guys, I love bluegrass. You gotta stop listening to hip hop. Bluegrass. Yes, the promise of the resurrection. What a glorious thing to know that death cannot hold you. You're going to live forever. Because, you know, people think when you get old, you get tired of living. No, you don't. As a matter of fact, I feel like I'm 19 years old. Almost. My body tells me a little now and then I need to change. Not quite there. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. See, when Jesus comes out to be a trumpet, when I hear that trumpet sound, gotta rise up out of the ground. Woo! Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. I love this song. Grave gonna hold my body down. Well, that's kind of a cool song, guys. So, my name is Cliff, and I'm your outdoor religion professor. And one thing nice about music, it kind of touches the soul, doesn't it? I just love music. And there's a lot of really great music out there that will lead you to God. There's a lot of music out there that leads you away from God. And so I recommend the kind of music that helps you and leads you to God. See, there's depraved music, like most hip hop, or what do you call that stuff? Where they do the lyrics, rhymes. Actually, it's pretty. Oh yeah, that's. I don't know, brain part here. I forget what it's called. But where the music where they basically do poetry. It's kind of cool, But they're talking a lot about a lot of depraved things that are the gangster music. Yeah, that's not very good for you. Not good to listen to. So listen to music that builds up your soul, builds you up in goodness, not in evil. And so there's good music, bad music. There's good and bad of everything in life. And what God wants you to do is make the right moral choices to choose what is good and right. And that's why I'm out here. I'm trying to help you guys, because if you make the wrong choices and choose what's wrong, you will suffer the consequences. And if you become a person committed to doing evil, you'll become what's called a wicked person, which the word wicked means twisted and perverted. And so a lot of people have misconceptions about God, so I want to dispel all those misconceptions. So if you have any questions, like if you have anything like say, Cliff, religion is bad, for whatever reason you think, come and talk to me about it, and I'll try to reason with you, and I'll try to show you that. Well, yeah, a lot of religion is bad, and there's false religion, but there's true religion that leads you to God. True religion will lead you to God. And that's a good thing, because what is God like? God is infinitely good, kind, patient, and loving. So then you might ask me, well, why does God send people to hell? Well, it's because he loves the righteous people, It's kind of like in our society. What happens when you have a criminal, so you have to stick him in jail so he can't hurt people, right? So if you have a guy that's a murderer, rapist, whatever like that, you have to stick him in jail, because otherwise he's running around harming people. And that's why we have jail, right? And so that's the way it is with God. God will separate the wicked from the righteous and put him in a holding cell where they can't do any harm to the righteous. So that's what the basic explanation of hell. But what I like to emphasize is heaven. How wonderful heaven, the world of tomorrow. I call it the world of tomorrow because heaven kind of gives you this concept that it's just a spiritual existence without substance. No, it's a spiritual and physical existence, just like you are now. Because if it were without the physical, then it would be death. Death is a separation of the physical from the spiritual, right? So that's what happens when you die. If you die, you will not cease to exist. You'll be feeling and everything. It's just the spirit will leave your body. So the atheists, they say, oh, death is a cessation of existence. When God created you, you're going to exist. You're an eternal agent of God. Now the question is, where will you be? Will you be with God in heaven, or with the devil in the place called lake of fire? It's one or the other, and every one of us has a choice, and ultimately, you will choose your own destiny. I have a little article here. It talks about destiny. What is my destiny is the third question. There's three great questions of life. Where did I come from? What is the purpose of my life? And what is my destiny? So it's important to answer those three questions. So this kind of helps you find out what that is. And we have to become brutally honest with ourselves. We have to think deeply about those things that we've done wrong in life that bring us shame. I want to talk about shame for a minute. What is shame? Shame is an emotion that you feel when you know you've done something wrong and unacceptable, right? And you know that other people will view you and say, oh, that is terrible what you did, right? So then you feel shame. And when you're exposed, you feel shame, right? So naturally, people wear clothing, and it's because if you were running around naked, you feel ashamed. And so that's a pretty interesting subject there, because there are people that are nudists that think, oh, shame is evil. No, shame tells you something's wrong that you got to fix. If you're feeling shame, then there's something wrong, right? And so God put that in us, and then there's shyness. Like usually young children are kind of shy, especially young girls are shy. It's a protective thing to protect you, because there's a lot of predators in the world that would like to take advantage of you one way or another. And oftentimes the predators that are in the world are evil people who are totally committed to violating moral laws in the sexual realm, and they want to have your body, basically. And there's a lot of times the older people looking at the beauty of youth. So, it's like the sharks in the ocean killing or attacking the little fish. Yeah, you don't want to become a victim of these predators, because they're all over our society. If we had a righteous society, those people would be pulled out, stuck in jail, stuck in the prison camp. And the prison camp is called hell. But God, allows evildoers to run around freely in this world, because the reason why is because this is the age of grace, the age of God's mercy. See, people who violate God's laws and are criminals against the government of God, they're running free. They're like a person who committed a crime, and the government, the police haven't caught them yet, and they're running free, and they think they're going to be free forever. But eventually the cops will get you. They'll take you before the judge, and you'll have an advocate who will plead your case, and you'll have a prosecutor who will be prosecuting you, and accusing you of what you did. And it's going to come out one way or the other. Like, if you're guilty, then you will have to pay the penalty required by the law. So this is some of the truth, that you find this in the Bible. There's also a government of God, which is above human governments, you see. See, we live in a theocracy. If you know that, the word theo means God, and cracy means the rule of God. And the universe is a theocracy. But planet Earth is in rebellion against God.
Dude, get a job.
You don't believe in God?
I believe in God, not yours, though.
Oh, what's wrong with speaking to people about God outdoors?
Has anyone stopped to talk to you today?
It doesn't matter. They're hearing.
Sir,
So
I
what church
can't
do you
help
go? Do you go to a
I
church?
hope the Lord helps you with the hate in your heart.
There's no hate in my heart. You're judging me. I have a lot of love in my heart. There's nothing but love. I don't know if that guy's religious or not, but he says I have a lot of hate in my heart. Do you think I have hate in my heart? You know, I would rather, if I was selfish, I would be out skiing or taking my side by side up in the mountains. And because I love going down all these dirt roads in the desert. And the reason I'm here is because I love you. I love the students. And I want you to know the Creator God who made the universe. He's a wonderful person. And there's so much misinformation about God. A lot of it has to be corrected. And there's a lot of misinformation about the Christian faith and the false teachings that are around and stuff. So that's why I'm here. Hi, young lady. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. I love individual conversation. So, do you have any questions?
I did have a few questions, specifically about your specific thing here. I'm a Christian.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been a
Awesome.